The door creaked as Lucas turned the key. For a moment, he hesitated, his hand resting on the cold metal handle. The air smelled different, emptier, almost sterile, as though the walls themselves had exhaled and surrendered to silence. He stepped inside, his shoes echoing against the wooden floor. Once, this place had been alive with laughter, music, and the rustle of photographs being pinned to the walls. Now, it greeted him like a hollow shell, familiar yet estranged. The living room stretched before him, stripped of color. The armchair where Emily used to read was gone, leaving a pale square on the carpet, a ghost of fabric and light. A frame that once held their favorite photo now displayed only a faint outline, a rectangle of dust. Lucas placed his bag on the floor. The sound seemed louder than it should have, as if the apartment was mocking him with its emptiness. He whispered without realizing, "She is gone." The words fell flat, absorbed by the walls, leaving no echo, no answer. In the silence, he felt both intruder and prisoner. This was still his apartment, his address, his key, but without her presence, it no longer felt like home. Lucas walked slowly through the hallway, each step weighed down by memories. The apartment seemed larger now, as if the absence of her belongings had stretched the walls farther apart. He opened the first door on the left, the bedroom. The bed stood uncovered, stripped of the colorful blanket Emily loved. Only the bare mattress remained, a stark reminder of nights filled with warmth now dissolved into cold emptiness. On the dresser, a small ring of dust revealed where her jewelry box once sat. He reached out, tracing the circle with his finger, and for a fleeting moment he imagined her laughter, the delicate sound of bracelets clinking as she searched for earrings. He turned away quickly, unwilling to drown in the image. The bathroom offered no comfort either. The mirror reflected his tired face, and the shelves, once crowded with her perfumes and brushes, now stood almost barren. A single bottle of shampoo remained, forgotten or perhaps intentionally left behind, a quiet relic of their shared life. Finally, he entered the small studio, where sunlight struggled through half-closed blinds. This had been Emily's favorite corner, where she would sort through photographs for hours. Now the desk was empty, a thin layer of dust coating its surface. He pictured her sitting there, eyes lit with passion, telling him stories about faces she had captured with her camera. Lucas closed his eyes. Each room told a story of absence, not through what remained, but through what was missing. The emptiness was not silent, it was speaking, and its voice was heavy. In the corner of the living room, untouched and silent, stood his guitar. Its strings had gathered a fine veil of dust, like cobwebs spun by time itself. Lucas knelt before it, running his hand lightly across the worn wood. The instrument seemed heavier now, as though it had absorbed his grief. He remembered the nights when Emily would sit cross-legged on the rug, her eyes closed, listening to him play. She never asked for complicated songs. She only wanted the simple ones, the ones that carried warmth in their imperfection. He lifted the guitar and strummed a chord. The sound cracked, slightly out of tune, yet it filled the room with a fragile echo. For the first time that day, the silence retreated. The music, even broken, gave shape to the emptiness. Memories returned like waves, Emily humming softly along, her voice blending with his, sometimes off-key, sometimes just laughter. He recalled the last time he played for her, the evening they argued when she said music was no longer enough to hold them together. He had ignored her tears, hiding behind the chords, pretending the song could fix what was already breaking. Now, as he played a few hesitant notes, regret settled deeper into his chest. The guitar was no longer a bridge between them. It was a tombstone for the melodies they once shared. He placed it back in its corner, careful, as if returning it to sleep. The room fell silent again, but something within him shifted. The music had reminded him not only of loss, but of the truth that sound could still be born from emptiness. As night settled outside, shadows stretched across the apartment, soft and uncertain. Lucas sat on the floor, his back against the wall where Emily's photographs once hung. The silence was thick, yet no longer hostile. It was waiting, as though offering him a choice. He let his gaze wander over the empty spaces, the missing chair, the vacant desk, the bare walls. For hours he had seen only absence, but now he began to notice something else, the promise of room to grow. The apartment was not ruined. It was unfinished. For the first time, he allowed himself to imagine a tomorrow that did not include her, not as a denial of love, but as a recognition of life's relentless current. Emily had taken her path, and he was still here, breathing, listening to the hum of the city beyond the windows. Lucas rose to his feet. The floor no longer felt like foreign ground. He walked to the window and opened it wide, letting the night air wash over him. It was cool, carrying scents of rain and distant traffic. He inhaled deeply, filling the hollowness inside with something new, something clean. A whisper left his lips, gentle, unforced. I will remember, but I will move on. The words did not echo, but he did not need them to. They were enough. The apartment was still empty, but his heart was no longer hollow. Where silence had once been a weight, it now felt like space, vast, uncertain, but alive with possibility. If you like this story, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.